Welcome everybody. Today we are going to have some awesome conversations. I have a friend of mine from Hawaii, all the way from Hawaii. His name is Brad Foster. He's the Agile enthusiast, Agile coach, and a good friend of mine. And the topic is also very, very interesting. So we are going to dive into the traditional PM world. I know you don't like that, but we'll stay with us. So we'll talk about the traditional PM world, and then more importantly, how can we transition from a traditional PM world to the wonderful world of Agile. So with that said, here is Brad.
Aloha, Nimesh. Glad to know you. I feel like I've known you for quite a while, even though just a couple months. And through your mentorship, your coaching, and your friendship, here we are in Hawaii. So, thank you for coming. Thank you for all your encouragement, and I'm looking forward to all the opportunities that we're creating.
Oh, great. By the way, yeah, I forgot to mention that we are coming all the way from Hawaii. Yeah, the background that you see is Hawaii, and maybe Brad can tell a little bit more about the landscape here.
Yeah, we're in the beautiful botanical gardens at the foot of the Kualaus, and while this has only been established since the '80s, you would think so much longer. It's always a blessing to come out here, and taking the mesh. I'm looking at the little weasels in the background. I think maybe you saw them run across Nimesh's screen, but this is a magical place. A freshwater lake behind me. We have ducks playing. We have many tourists, multicultural, and the botanical gardens, as we saw, are made up of plants that I didn't realize. Monkey pod, for example, came from Mexico. So a lot to drink up and inhale. It's a beautiful smell. I wish you could all smell it.
Beautiful smell and a beautiful place, and definitely there were some plants, in fact, giving you beautiful fragrance. I mean, it was really fragrant just walking past there. So with that background, with that landscape, let's dive in to the PM world, and then how a PM can transition to the agile world. All right, so this is a very common question that we get asked, right? As to how does a traditional PM make that transition? First of all, is it possible to make that transition? And second, if it is possible, how do we make that transition? Right? So I look at that transition as several steps involved in that. And I think the first and the foremost, and often ignored, is the focus on the mindset. As a PM, you need to shift your mindset. Uh, as we all know, Agile is all about servant leadership, right? So making that mindset shift to being a servant leader, that is the most important piece for a PM. So that's the first step I would say as a PM needs to do. And Brad, you can probably add some stories from your
My own
experience.
experience, absolutely. Thank you, Nimesh. Yeah, and actually, some of this comes from a class that Nimesh just led, and I was supporting here in Hawaii, kind of agile foundations. And it was interesting because there were your typical PMs in the course, and that were looking to make the transition, but you kind of get a sense of what hill that they're going to be on. Are they on a slippery slope, or are they able to make a transition? From my own experience, I've always been thirsty for adding the most value to an organization. I discovered the PM, the PMBOK, after I was a BA, after I was a developer, after I was software quality assurance. I wanted that bigger picture. I wanted the bigger picture. I didn't want the power. And when we say that some of the PMs out there, they want power, absolute power, and that's not a team, and that doesn't work in Agile. So I discovered Agile along the way, after going through my PMBOK and becoming a PMP, that there were further efficiencies. I didn't just want to bring my toolbox to an organization. I wanted to bring my mental toolbox and a set of tools, but the tools that make sense. And Agile makes sense, and that's why I've gone. I stuck my foot in the water with a Scrum Master. I definitely didn't come out of there thinking that I knew everything, although there's any number of Scrum Master certifications out there. But just the experience within a project, within a program, within an organization is your best bet. But as Nimesh has keyed, it really is. It's a mindset. We've adapted a term here where agile is aloha. You can't put your hands on it. You just have to feel it and you have to be it. You can't do it, but you have to be it.
Yeah, and we in Agile we say that doing Agile and being Agile, right? So doing Agile I think is easier compared to being Agile, right? And in this transition, I'm focusing more on that piece. First, adopting that spirit of being agile, right? Understanding the mindset there and making that mental shift. And then all the tools and training and all that will help you. But if you do just the tools and training but don't make that mental shift, it's not going to help you in that transition.
And
All right.
Nimesh, I have to add again from the coursework that we just did, I mentally have done this before. I've created a matrix of agile and a typical PMO and the deliverables. But one of the exercises that Nimesh had us going through was um, we had the PMs there. So what's a typical PM task? We lined a whole board and wrote down those tasks from everything we do as the Uber project manager. From communication to proposal development to charter development to uh, E-suite or C-suite communications. So we wrote, so those are just a few, but the board was full, and it was interesting to look at that and then look, walk the class through each of those tasks and say, okay, what 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 have you learned at this point with the roles of a scrum master, a product owner, and a team? What makes sense for these individuals? So it was a really great exercise to realize that the PM can make this transition and they can take a lot of that burden off. A lot of PMs I know are so stressed out. I was stressed out. I was stressed out more because I was putting together project plans without a lot of collaboration, just based on a few conversations, and then the pain and consternation of updating the project plans. Now I do everything as a team, whether I'm a Scrum Master. So Agile is about team, and that's what I really embrace, and I encourage most project managers to embrace, to start trusting in the nature of it. Learn more about Agile. Look at all of Nimesh's videos. Look at all the resources available online to come up with a larger perspective. There's not a one size fits all with Agile, but trust is built into the system. As long as you trust your team and you trust the people that you're working with, and ideally, an organization is working and has empowered the individuals to make decisions. So yeah, I'm riding on high since I've made the Agile switch.
Great. And again, the key is make that mental shift to being a servant leader, not just a command and control as we say, but it's a servant leader. You are the leader of that team to serve them, right? So that's the mental shift, right? Now let's look at the second part of this transition. You may say, hey Nimesh, mindset shift. You are focusing on mindset shift, and you expect us to do that mindset shift on day one? Absolutely not. What I was alluding to is at least having the awareness about that. Understand that from a PM to agile world, that requires that mindset shift. You won't be able to make that mindset shift in one day. It takes time, it's a journey, but at least being aware of that will help you start on a right footing. Okay, so now that we have taken that, made that clear, let's talk about the next step, and that would be the training. I think getting the training from a pro, good instructor, good trainer who knows his or her stuff is very, very important. That will Again, if you get the right training, that will get you on the right path, maybe put you on that speedy ramp towards that transition, right? Some of the training I would recommend is, again, just get the Agile fundamentals or Scrum Master training, and I'll let Brad add some more on the training piece of it.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Nimesh. And you're playing a very big role. These steps forward. We tend to like to do things by ourselves, and we some of us do things by ourselves just by initiative and go out and seek information. And that's there. There is tons of information, as we mentioned previously. There's not one fit of Agile. Just as there's not one fit for a teacher or a mentor, for example. I can get on the internet, I can take classes, and think all of a sudden now at this point in my career I have a lot of experience. Now I have certifications, but it's been really key to have key individuals, more senior people that have had a lot of exposure or align with you, just like anything. A yoga instructor or a golf partner, whatever you want to have, it's a good fit. So it's worth searching for a good fit and having those little milestones along the way. I strongly encourage that.
Yeah, great. And again, like as I said, the first good first step could be just get the Agile fundamentals training. And we offer one training that includes Agile fundamentals as well as Scrum foundations. So reach out to us. All right. So first we talked about mindset shift. Second was the training. Let's talk about the third step. So today we are at
How did we say the Budai
Biodine.
Biodi Temple? I struggle sometimes with my pronunciations, both Japanese and local. But yeah, we're here at the base of the Kulamau Mountains and having another morning chat with regard to your path to Agile.
So earlier we talked about a couple of steps as far as for a PM to transition into Agile. Right. So the first one was the mindset. The second one, as we said, was the training. But the classroom training can give you only so much, right?
The interest.
And it's still theory, right? You cannot just sit on the side of the swimming pool and think that you are able to swim, right? You have to jump in, right? So that would be the next step, I would say, is with all that knowledge you have, the awareness of the mindset you have, now you have to jump in. Uh, you don't have to jump into the deep end. You can start with the shallow end, right? And slowly get a feel of it. Now, that's even more important when there is not much buy-in about Agile in the organization. So you can introduce some simple practices to your team, to your organization. During our training, we had talked about the big A and the small A, like big Agile and small Agile. So when we talk about big Agile is basically all processes, right? Focused on the process. The small Agile, when we talk about small Agile, we are talking about taking Agile to the heart, you know, embracing those concepts of collaboration and delivery. So if your organization is not ready for Agile, you can still do Agile. Just bring in some of those practices. Simple thing, daily Scrum. Bring the daily Scrum in the team. In PM world, we talk about communication, communication, communication. There is no such thing as too much communication. So daily Scrum can definitely help your team staying in sync with each other. So again, bring some of those simple practices that can help you in slowly adopting Agile in the team, in the organization.
Absolutely.
And as they do it more, they will realize the value of it, and they will be looking for more. They will be saying, "Give me more," right? And I think you were mentioning some example about using some AI and all that for one of your projects?
Yeah, locally, again, I can't emphasize enough. You know, communication, and planning are very much a part of every PM's upbringing. Look at your daily stand up as a planning session. You can call it a stand up, you can call it a huddle, you can call it a scrum, depending on what direction you go with agility. When we speak of scrum, scrum is one aspect of agility. And thank you, Nimesh, for asking locally. I mean, I'm really passionate about agile, both the big A and the small A. I'm in pursuit of both, where you know, I look at every opportunity. Recently, I worked with the state of Hawaii to deliver safe travels. I say recently, we did this several, maybe it was 6 months ago, but it was safe travels passenger questions with regard to coming to Hawaii. It was a very labor intensive process, but they were getting overwhelmed, as we might all imagine, through the pandemic. We used a Google AI solution to quickly create a team, understand the basics of working in a Scrum team, and then delivered it within a month. We had a small slice of MVP that we shared with several senior leaders of the state of Hawaii, the CIO, CFO, various organizations, Department of Labor, and they all saw the value in using this AI solution. But we did that in Scrum. When we finished after the demonstration, I was asked, okay, now let's go back and test it. And that's again the beauty of agile. If you're following the process and the intent, you're testing along the way and you're delivering smaller increments of value sooner than later.
All right, great. So that's your step number 3. So first was mindset, second was training, third is jump into the pool. You decide whether it's a shallow end or the deep end, but you got to be in the pool to get the value of this, what we call agile. Beautiful location. We are in
Waimea Botanical Gardens is far from complete, but get a taste for local culture, the way the native Hawaiians lived, how far, what changes brought to them, their hierarchy. We've been introduced to their spiritual side and how they organized around their medicine men and how their villages were organized, how their teams were organized, so many things.
definitely it's been eye-opening for me. So let's get back to our topic. So far we talked about the mindset shift,
Mm.
the training. Then we said you need to jump in the pool. You cannot just sit on the sidelines, as they
Right.
call it. You decide whether you want to jump in the deep end or the shallow end. And then the next step I would say is, or in parallel, I would say, would be to find a mentor, somebody who you look up to, somebody who you trust, somebody who has taken that journey before you. If you don't have a mentor or a guide, you will be trying to figure out the way yourself.
I agree.
And you can do it, it just takes more time,
Mm.
right? So if you have a good mentor, that person can definitely speed up that journey for you. And I would say mentor can share his or her stories with you that will connect with you,
Mm.
right? Because they have taken that journey before you, so I'm sure they have their own ups and downs,
Absolutely.
right? And you can learn from that. Why reinvent the wheel, as I like to call it? Use other people's experience and build your story on top of it. As they say, we all are standing on some other giant's shoulders. So that mentor could be that giant on whose shoulder you can use and speed up that journey.
Absolutely. Yeah. Most people realize the value of talking to a resident expert being your mentor. and somebody you should connect with, something you have common with, the common, maybe your business domain, maybe your technical domain, your spiritual domain. But I've gotten a lot of value looking forward with a mentor, hoping and looking to expedite my journey, and just have a sounding board with expertise.
Yeah, that's a great point. If nothing else, the mentor can be a great sounding board and keep you grounded. The mentor is not someone who will say yes to everything that you say. And if you have a mentor who says yes to everything, you should probably run away from that person, right? Because he or she hasn't been honest with you, right? So the mentor can definitely keep you grounded, can be a great sounding board, and exchange all the ideas and thoughts and opportunities with you.
Absolutely.
So definitely, find some mentor, and connect with that person. If not every week, every month. If not every month, once in a quarter. But uh, connect with them, and they can help you go on that journey much faster than
Yeah,
what they might have taken the time.
absolutely.